Hello, I'm Morgan. I'm a member of the Primary Care Innovation Support Unit at the University of British Columbia, and I'm grateful to be coming to you today from the traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking people. I'm happy today to be talking to you about our immPACC project. immPACC is a project designed to bring people together in a community to talk in a person-centered manner about immunization confidence and the structural barriers to getting COVID vaccine. We were lucky enough to be funded through Public Health Agency of Canada, through their Immunization Partnership Fund, to train and mentor facilitators in immPACC mapping and spread this across the 4 provinces of Western Canada. What is PACC mapping? It's a 3-step process where a facilitator will engage with a community, do some prep work in the first stage, and tailor the PACC mapping session to the community. Then the session itself is where a group of stakeholders from local government, primary care, public health, First Nations, local NGOs who are all involved in the vaccine effort will get together to discuss what are some of the current barriers and how can those be reduced. And we do that facilitated in a person-centered manner. And I'm going to show you that in a second. And the last stage for the facilitator is to summarize the mapping session and provide that as feedback. That will all then ideally drive community action. So this is not meant to be a tool that replaces the current work that all communities are doing now, but it's meant to augment and add a new option to help accelerate those discussions and generate new ideas. We call it mapping because we do use a map. We map to the geography of the community. We also map to persona. So when I say this is a person-centered approach, what we do is we use these simulated persona to highlight different populations within the community, and these are tailored for the community. And through the personas, we explore the different access barriers, structural barriers, cultural and other issues that may be there that we can then address by changing the options that are there today in a community. So the work that's happening today with local stakeholders generating ideas to try to improve vaccine access is absolutely good work, and it's happening now. What we can do through the immPACC is accelerate that. The personas we find help situate local stakeholders to better understand some of the challenges, accelerate the generation of new ideas using some design thinking techniques, and it also validates the existing ideas to see how feasible they are for different populations of people. And as I said, we do this on a map, and on that map, we'll start to discuss in the session what are the current options, and in real time, the facilitators of the session will put these on this shared whiteboard that is seen by everybody during the session. And then we start talking about the personas, and the facilitator would introduce Tina and talk about Tina, who is an Indigenous woman who has 3 children, who is also working and is very busy and has not yet been able to get her vaccine. We talk about where could Tina go today to get her vaccine and which options might be best suited for her and which ones wouldn't be. And we also then talk about how we could better augment the services to reduce the barriers for Tina and for people like Tina. Oftentimes, this also spurs some good discussion where we don't have answers, and so we capture those questions in a parking lot, of course, and that gets into the feedback report. And as we move along, we talk about the next persona and the next, and this generally we get through 3 to 5 in a session, depending on how the group dynamics are and how much conversation there is. In the case of Gus, who is a homeless person who has no fixed address, he doesn't feel comfortable because of his anxiety going to any of the large centers. So we start talking across the group, and you can imagine that perhaps a mobile unit or a particular van might be an option to provide immunization doses. And then we can map Gus to the new idea. Again, thinking about specific ways of augmenting the service to get Gus to come in. And we continue to discuss different personas as we go along. And you can see how very quickly the board gets full. And in a 2-hour session, it's full of questions, full of new ideas, and that it's all been co-generated, and people are buying into the process as they discuss and see it come together. The facilitator then provides the community a short summary with a high-res version of the map and the actions that came out of it. And what we find is that immPACC can really help communities identify the different structural barriers that exist and find ways together to reduce those. I mentioned earlier that this fits within current process. It doesn't replace them. There's lots of good work happening in communities. This is a way to accelerate some of that discussion. Use some design thinking methods to just broaden it out a little bit, generate some new ideas, and then bring those into the planning process afterwards. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions about immPACC, please email us, and the email's here, and we'll put it in the description as well.